On today's video, we'll discuss building your Magic the Gathering investment over time. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. No, I did not graduate Magic University, so the advice I'm about to give you today should totally be taken for entertainment purposes. I washed out in the first semester. I have no clue what I'm talking about. Please seek out the advice of a real financial advisor. So when you're thinking about building a Magic investment, first off, never risk more than you can afford to lose. This is a game built basically on cardboard. All right, it's really just made out of paper. Now, I compare that to a real stock where it could go to zero and I lose everything. And I have a little comfort knowing that even if this game went to zero, I would have all this cardboard in the background to enjoy for the rest of my life. Now, I really started investing and collecting in Magic, of course, in 2013, where I started buying cases of products starting with Theros. And I've built it from there. Now, when it came to singles, I mainly kept a lot of singles since childhood, and I've been building on those ever since. So although I'm lucky enough to have Power 9, I have purchased some other pieces of Power 9 over the years to add to my position and collection within the set. When you're starting Magic investing, first of all, I hope you enjoy the game. Because if you don't enjoy the game, you're not going to quite get the value out of the game you should. You're thinking purely in terms of money, and that doesn't always add up to a good investor when it comes to Magic the Gathering. You usually start as a collector and you build the cards you like to have. You build on the deck you want to build on. You say, I want to add this, and then you tweak that deck. And slowly cards get rotated out as new cards come along. But not all those cards go to zero. And they start building up in collection binders. And then you start building value for the future. Now, I understand a lot of these cards, you only get about 50%, 60% of value. Sometimes you can sell them, though, and get a lot of money. But the key is keep spreadsheets. Start jotting down everything you buy and how much you paid. Track some of these prices from time to time to see where you're at. Watch channels like mine to find out about good deals on cards or cards that are going up in value. If it's not my channel, maybe it's another channel you're watching. There are quite a few good ones out there. But when you start to see what you've built over a couple of years, and that spreads into a 5-year span and a 7-year span, this is why a lot of Magic players never really leave the game. They are invested in the game. They have value and money tied up into the game. So Magic becomes quite addictive on its own, but it also builds your wealth. Because as you go along, unlike other games you may play or other hobbies you might get into, when I used to play Evercrack, at the end on EverQuest, I got nothing. I had great years of memories, which was awesome, but all those thousands of dollars I spent paying subscription fees ended for naught. Whereas as I've paid and played in Magic, I paid and I played, my investment grew. And I started collecting cards. And then I started tracking prices. And then by 2015 and 16, I started collecting some older boxes that were cheap locally. I picked up Torment. I picked up Nemesis, some Onslaught, all on sale, good deals. Now, I've sold a lot of those since then, because back then I was kind of flipping, buying and selling as things doubled in value. It's when I started doing my YouTube channel, I guess 2018, 2019, where I started actually doing YouTube, and I saw that if you hold it longer and longer, your wealth grows that much further. And it's not always about putting in giant chunks of money. It's about looking for the right deal, the right opportunity at the right time. It isn't always just waiting for you out there. You got to grunge, you got to grind. You have to look for the value in your investments. You can't just sell a card when you're done using it. If it's a reserve list card, I don't recommend selling unless you have to. If it's a spec card from a standard or EDH reprintable set card that, may or may not go up in value, if you don't need it anymore, you might want to trade that in. Sealed product always seems to hold well. I still keep to that rule of 7 to 9 years. So my wall here seems good, but I can afford, like what is this? Joseph, who won this on my Patreon giveaway. I can afford to give away a $350 box of Magic cards because I didn't pay that back in the day. And that's how I equate it when I give out prizes to my patrons. That's how I'm looking at it. As an investment, I can say, this is what I paid, this is how much it's worth, and this is how much I hope to get out of it after fees and taxes. Building your wealth is slow. It does not happen overnight. And if you get a huge windfall of money, I don't recommend shoving it all into Magic cards. If you have debts, pay them off. To do this, I basically had to be debt-free other than my mortgage. So in case I make a mistake, I can dig myself out without damaging my family or friends. That is key. When you're building your investment, you're building it over time. You've got to look at a really long range. You're not looking at even 5 years anymore. You're looking at 20 years out. You want cards to have a long time to grow, especially if you're collecting in the reserve list, where these cards can just go crazy after a short period of time, slowly retrace before they go back up. But if you buy on the retracement, if you buy when it's going down and you can afford to buy them and hold them for that long period of time, look for those near mint, look for the opportunities. You can get ahead in the game without even realizing it. When you buy some cards, shove it away in a binder, put it in a box, keep it stored somewhere, and then look back a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe check up on channels like my own and see what's going on with those cards. It can be pretty epic. It really can. You can follow MTG stocks, look at the sold listings on eBay to see what cards are going for. Now, certain cards have more playability factor. If you're not a sealed product person and you're going the single route, singles, you got to look at the playability. Is it used in Commander? What formats is it allowed to be played in? What are the chances of a banned card becoming unbanned? Things change over time. You got to be aware of that. I've always been bullish on Tolarian Academy because I think one day they're going to realize just unban it. It's a casual format. You let Mishra's Workshop go. Sarah Sanctum's out there with all these new enchantment cards. I think they can afford to let it go. There's things that can blow up land out there. Pay attention. But when a card becomes unbanned, that can be epic. The value will shoot right up. It's being suppressed because it's not being played in certain formats. But that isn't just for Tolarian Academy. There's a lot of cards along those routes. When you're looking for an investment collectible option in Magic the Gathering, what are you into? Are you into the old foils, which can command massive amounts of money because they're so rare? It's not like today's foil, where I can just reach over and grab a foil card and just go, hey, do I have a foil here? There's a foil right there, a foil full art, and it's worth about a nickel. But if you grab an old foil and you say, hey, I've got a foil from Urza's Destiny, if it's a rare, it's basically $1,000 right off the bat. It's crazy. You have to look at those things and do some research, do some investment finding. And should you buy just one of those cards? If that card goes down or if something goes wrong, no. You want to spread your seeds out. You want to hit a lot of things. If you're going to go into reserve list investing, start small. Buy some cheap low-end reserve list cards. Find near mint ones. Start building positions in cards you like. Start building positions where you think other people aren't. If I, on my channel, am focusing on 5 cards this week, I'm showing people those 5 cards, maybe those are cards that interest you, but maybe you want to look at cards I haven't hit up yet, cards I haven't gotten to on my data spreadsheet, and those are cards that may have opportunities before I expose it to other people. It's a great way of slowly building positions. Maybe you skip a coffee for a couple of weeks and you buy a slightly bigger card. If your budget's $20 a week, that's still 3 or 4 reserve list cards every single week, slowly being built up. And if you look for discounts and sales, or you skip a few weeks and build it up to $100, well, $100 can buy a moderately played Tolarian Academy. You can start looking up at bigger cards. And here's the best part. After a few years of doing that, just like I realized myself, after a few years, you go, wow, I have enough cards here, and they've shot up so much in value, that I now can go ahead and trade up to a dual land, or a couple of dual lands, depending on how much your cards have gone up by. It can be really fascinating because the key is, if you're enjoying and playing the game, and you're going to be spending money on packs anyway, some of those cards you don't need, or you don't like, or you just don't see a future use for, and they sit there in that backdrop of your binders. But some of those cards can go up in value, like, hey, this card is worth like $100, I'm going to trade that in. That's 1/5 of the way to a Bayou revised. That's 1/3 of the way to getting a Savannah revised. Dual land. People don't realize that. And it's just hilarious when you see it go. When somebody trades in 50, 60 cards and they go, wow, I have like $800 in trading value. I can get my first dual lands to start building toward a piece of power. Power is attainable. When you think of all the money you spend on sets every year. If I had skipped buying Dungeons & Dragons this year, I could have had a Mox. Retrospect and hindsight are everything. So as an investor, you've got to look ahead at that. I knew I was buying those. I knew what I was doing. Don't worry. I'm saving those for the 10, 15, 20 year mark, right? They're being saved for a long period of time. But as an investor starting out, you might want to start small. Buy some smaller cards, pick them up. And it doesn't just have to be reserve list cards. There's lots of speculation that happens in every format playable in Magic. You just got to hit the right card at the right time. Don't just go in and go blind. Watch a lot of YouTube channels, check a lot of the markets to see what cards are popular, see what commander decks are popular, see what standard decks are popular. When you see those types of cards and you start seeing what they go for, the befores, the afters, you will start learning more and more. But the key is start small. Start really small and slowly branch yourself out into bigger and bigger rings. As you get older, you'll have more disposable income as things in your life become more stable. If you live at home, hey, you probably have some money that's expendable right now. I would pay off your student loans if you have student loans. Don't buy magic cards. Don't buy cardboard. It's all about being stable. Never risk more than you can afford to lose. Remember what I said earlier. Don't get rid of anything you can't afford to lose. Reserve list cards, hold as long as you possibly can. Sealed products, same thing. The longer you hold it, the more attrition eats up other people's booster boxes. So, I don't know, let's just say Rudy at Alpha Investments. Rudy's got their Taco Tuesday special, and a whole bunch of players buy boxes for, let's say, $200. He has a big clearance on, I don't know, Mirrodin Besieged. People buy these boxes, and they open them en masse. But the 5 boxes I kept just went up in value because all those people bought them and opened them because they were so cheap. It's awesome. Any low print run set like Dominaria, if you hear a low print run set's been announced or we've cut it off early, those are sets you probably want to get. An unpopular set. If you see a set's on for like $99 and it's a draft box, you probably should be buying it. Because later on, it's going to kind of double and triple in value a little bit faster than the others. These are all tricks of the trade, little things that I've learned to do over the years that have helped me build my investment to what it is now. This is only like 8 years in with a huge collection I have now. Imagine what it can be if I do more wheeling and dealing. I don't really do that now because I run this YouTube channel. I like having all this stuff around to talk to people about and to build my own wealth for a longer period of time. I'm not so short-sighted now that I buy and sell quickly and I regret things later. I like to hold on to them. I'm in for the long haul to see what will happen. But never risk more than you can afford to lose is the first key thing. If you've only got $20 to spare each month, put that $20 aside. If you want to go for a dual land, that's one dual land a year at this point. But it's still a dual land. They don't really drop in value. They continue to go up. Maybe you're going to go after Metal Worker. Maybe you want to buy a couple Carnival of Souls. I don't know. Whatever your Elvish Farmer. Spend that $5. Whatever it may be. Depending on where you are, investing in Magic usually starts with collecting in Magic. You're playing the game because you want to play it. There are big people out there, big whales, who can afford to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month if they want to scoop up cards. But they like to see that the card has some versatility inside the market. They want it to be a playable card generally. Where other people will say, I just like that artwork. I want to get as many copies as I can. There's other people who say, this card's not really being used right now. But with all the tribal support going on, that card could come back. I might as well get a position. What's a couple $100 at this point if 10 years from now when that card gets reprinted in a tribal support deck, the originals will go through the roof. Looking into the future is always kind of hard, but planning for it doesn't have to be. Small bits of information gathered over time and not rushing is key. I've made those rush mistakes. Don't make the same mistake. Take your time. Start small. Work your way out. Spend a few bucks here, a few bucks there. Maybe you don't buy every Magic set. Maybe you only buy the cards you like. And then you see where it happens. You go, hey, that card I liked is now like, went from $2 when I bought it. It's like a $15 card now. Remember though, selling it at $15 is a little bit harder. But it is a $15 card. Somebody out there values it at $15. You sell it for $12, you're going to get ahead. You start raking in those profits, but you got to spreadsheet things to keep everything on track. Because if you don't, you're going to miss something. When you start missing things, you don't know if you're making money or losing money. That's the hardest part of investing in Magic. And remember, not a financial channel. But if you're going to invest in this game, you got to keep track of things so you know where you're at, what you can afford to win and lose on, how much you spent overall to get where you are, to how much wealth you've created in your set. That's what it's all about if you want to be an investor in this set. If you just want to play, you'll build your wealth anyway. Because these cards tend to go up in value over the years. The more we play it, the more we see the wealth go. I remember buying dual lands at $5. Anybody want to buy my dual lands for $5 now? Who wouldn't raise their hand? Hey, I bought that Lotus for, oh wait, $5, $10, $25, $200. Who's not buying one of my Lotuses for $200? Right, guys? That's where this wealth can go over time. Is the easy money made? It never was easy money. It continues to grow as Magic continues to evolve. Players will value different cards at different times. Paying attention to that and zoning in on that when it happens is key. So those are some of the tricks of the trade, things I've done in Magic to build my wealth and will continue to grow my wealth. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you go ahead and you slam those down in the comment section. Of course, my patrons can hit me up on the Patreon, the Discord, or my email. I look forward to chatting to you guys about your Magic Investments. Your pride and joy, where you're at in the world, put those comments down. I can't wait to see it. Everyone have a great day today. And remember, start small. Have a great one. And a big shout out to each and every one of my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting this channel each and every day. Patrons make the world go round, and I can't wait to see what happens in the new year of 2022. You guys are rocking. We'll see you on the live stream next week. It is going to be epic. Looking forward to it. Have a great one. Hey, you made it to the end. Remember what I said about starting small? Remember, start small. Sorry, I'm just paying attention to flipping the pages. Come on. Keep turning. That's pretty difficult. Hold on. Hold on. Sometimes it's just easier to do it this way. I was trying to flip them for you closer, but you know. When you start seeing your collection grow, you start seeing all the cards you get into and what you can do with them. You start going, hey man, the collection's getting bigger. Can't help myself. My problem is I don't keep them all organized like I should, but you start getting there, you know? Can't help myself. Collections just grow and grow and grow. Don't worry, we're not done. We're not done. Oh. This is when I had a whole bunch of collector edition stuff. It's kind of epic. I got it all for 38 bucks. I know, I bought it all at the same time. Then you start building stuff, you know, didgeridoos, and start collecting your other stuff. Oh, Lodestone Bobble before it was big. Right? Jester's Masks and beta cards. More collector edition stuff, Peacekeepers. Can't go wrong, people. Can't go wrong. Lord Tressorhorn, man. More Peacekeepers, more Tressorhorn, more land capabilities, City of Solitudes. Of course, the Trading Post, Outpost. You know, you got to have those near mint cards to go. Varchild's War Riders, right? Remember that back in the day? Storage Matrix. Ah, good stuff. A whole bunch more Cyclopean Tombs, because why not? They were super cheap at like 25 bucks back then. Pendril Mists. Ah, love my stuff. What we got here? What we got here? Fetch lands? Do we really care about fetch lands? Do we have anything else? Oh, how about when we were getting all those Zendikar Rising full art ones, man? A couple of pages of those. Anything else back here worth... Oh, hey! How about a couple pages of Soldevis? Let's go with the pages of Soldevis. We got a few pages of Soldevis, plus all the ones I have in a few other binders, but you know. And then, of course, I still love the Biblioplex. Start small. You never know where it's going to go. That's just a couple of binders out of, like, the whack load down here. I just grabbed a couple. No one needs to see binder after binder of Mox Amber at this point. We know I love Mox Amber. Anyway, start small, guys. You never know what's going to go. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thanks a lot for hanging in there. You know, an extra 4 minutes into the video, just me flipping binders. What can I say? Somebody asked, I showed some cards. Yay! All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.